Well, for the latest on the violent weather in Western Australia, we're joined from our Perth newsroom by reporter Courtney Bembridge. Good morning, Courtney. What happened overnight?
Look, Karina, most people in Perth will be waking up with a sense of relief this morning. We were very lucky last night. Certainly, it seemed that the storm was going to be very destructive. There was very loud winds, a lot of rain, lightning, thunder, and as you know, this is our third storm in less than a week. So everyone was prepared for the worst, but it appears that we've escaped any major damage. A house in the southwest lost its roof, but apart from that, emergency services say the area's fared pretty well, and the storm is now heading further south.
And is that because the storm wasn't as severe as authorities had expected, or had people prepared really well?
Look, I think there was, to a certain extent, people had prepared, but certainly the storm wasn't as destructive as expected. We had the tornado last week, which was very unexpected and just tore a very destructive path through a very small area. And then on Sunday we had widespread damage, 170,000 homes lost power, and authorities were still battling to catch up and restore power and clear debris before this storm came in. So obviously SES and our emergency services were battling to try to get that done before this storm came in, but they actually had to stop work last night because the conditions were deemed too dangerous. So it did look for a while there. I know the Weather Bureau was particularly concerned for a while there. It did look like it was going to be even worse, and cyclonic winds were certainly predicted. But I'm very lucky where we seem to have escaped any major damage.
So how many homes remain without power, Courtney?
We've got about 27,000 homes without power at the moment, but about 10,000 of those are from Sunday's storm. So obviously authorities are still battling to catch up after the 170,000 lost power, and it could be a week or more before everyone gets back on. They're just trying to clear the jobs and move through them as quickly as they can.
It was a wide storm band that was also likely to affect the south coast of WA. Outside of Perth, has there been any reports of damage?
Look, the worst hit areas I think were in the southwest. The Rockingham and Mandurah areas lost the most power, and that's where the house had the roof torn off it. And certainly the storm is moving further south now. But it also is obviously still dark here in Perth, so I think a lot of the damage is yet to be seen. And people will be waking up this morning and inspecting their properties, and I guess we'll get a clearer picture of exactly what went on overnight and where the worst hit areas were. But certainly authorities got about 100 calls for help overnight, and they're on standby. We've got interstate crews on standby as well to help everyone clean up and make sure their properties are in a sound condition.
And what about school closures?
We've got about 50 schools that were closed yesterday, and any schools that received damage overnight obviously wouldn't open today. So we're not sure yet. Everyone, I'm sure the school kids are still tucked up in bed, so it's not clear whether there'll be more school closures. But certainly yesterday afternoon, a number of schools closed in the afternoon, and about 50 schools in total were closed.
You've talked about this being the third in a series of storms that have hit Perth in recent days. Have authorities said how long the cleanup is likely to take?
Look, it's expected to take at least this week. There's obviously a lot of debris that still needs to be cleared, and the power is taking a long time to restore, especially because the conditions have been bad. They haven't had time to catch up and have had to stop work because conditions have been deemed too dangerous. So it's not yet clear how long it will take, but certainly because the storms have been so concentrated, it hasn't given authorities time to catch up, so it will take a little bit longer.